So starting in a seated position, sitting on the edge of a blanket or some firm pillows to lift the hip points up a little bit higher than the knees. This way, when the hip points, those bony parts at the top of the hips, you can feel them with your hands. When they're up higher than your knees, then the perineum space is longer and wider, and the sacrum space in the low back is longer and wider, and actually creates more stability in the torso to have a seat. So if you find that you're on your tailbone and your knees are lifted and you got to hang on for dear life to stay in a seat, lift your hips up higher so that your inner thighs can unfold. Sometimes placing a block underneath the knees or a blanket underneath the knees can be really helpful too. So the ankles can be in alignment with the navel, or you can overcross, but not necessarily tuck the legs under. Try to avoid that just to keep opening up the space. You can always bring the soles of the feet together or come into a posture that is most comfortable for you. Feel your sit bones below you, bringing your right hand underneath your right sit bone, rocking back and forth. So rocking back and forth on the right sit bone, rooting that down and bringing the hands back to the lap. And just notice the right buttock versus the left buttock. If the left one feels a little bit more plump and the right one feels a little bit wider or more rooted, we would say in the practice. And that's just the power of touching ourselves. So we need to get to know where we are in space. So we'll bring ourselves even, left hand underneath left sit bone, to root our energy downwards. And when our energy starts to shift downwards, it actually starts to move a little bit slower, which can be uneasy if we're spiraling in our heads constantly through the day. So to slow our energy down and our thoughts down and our body down, it can feel uneasy and like we're doing less, but we are actually doing more because we're paying more attention to being in the present moment. And in this practice, we're really going to focus on harnessing our breath and building lung capacity and strength and getting to know how our body moves and in what ways feel comfortable, what ways feel supportive, and what things can be more challenging. Inhale, draw the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, roll the shoulder blades down your back. Inhale, roll forward and up. Exhaling back and down, and just letting your arms and hands be like noodles. They're just going along for the ride. Inhale, we'll roll up, exhaling back and down. You can breathe in and out through the nose, or in through the nose and out through the lips. And just letting your breath be your breath. And then finishing the circle that you're on. Shoulder blades melt back together. The collarbones are broad. Rubbing the palms together in front of the heart. Gaze can be at the palms or the eyes can be closed. And the eyes rolled up to the third eye point, stimulating the pituitary gland. So as we rub the palms back and forth, this simple exercise helps to balance the left and right hemispheres of the mind, the intellectual and the feeling sides, to meet together, to bring about more peace instead of being lopsided or one-sided. You might also feel the energy stirring between your palms, a sense of warmth. And with an inhale, place the warmth of your palms over the eyes. Exhaling with a sigh, drawing the heels of the hands down to the chin and to the heart. Resting the thumbs on the sternum as the palms press together, fingertips tilted towards the chin, the brow to the fingertips, and the shoulder blades melt away from the ears. The spine is long and strong. Inviting a silent intention for your practices today. And welcoming a group intention. I am well and peaceful. I am well and peaceful. I am well and peaceful. We'll seal this intention in and bring more movement into the body with the opening of 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And then inhale. Lowering the hands to the heart, to the knees, drawing the chin to the heart. And begin to move the spine in circles. So the spine becomes like a cooked noodle. The inhale comes forward or exhale comes forward and back. The inhale, oh, goodness gracious. So moving the spine like a noodle. Exhaling to one side and back. And the inhale brings you over to the other side and forward. You can use your hands as leverage on the knees and letting your head be an extension of the spine. So you don't need to hold it in a certain place. It can just roll as what's comfortable for you. And then moving in the opposite direction. Breathing in deeply. Exhaling completely. And doing one more circle in this direction. And slowly returning back to stillness, crown of the head to the sky, sit bones rooted, and feeling the energy that you've stirred up so far. Slowly draw the chin to the heart, blink the eyes open a little bit, gazing down at the earth, stretching your legs out in front of you, windshield wiper the legs. You can glide down off of your blanket if you'd like. And sitting up really tall so you're feeling the sit bones below you. Press out through the heels. Pinky toes draw towards the knees. Sitting up tall. Extend the arms out in front of you. Plug the upper arm bones back into the sockets. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, reach out and grab onto your legs or your feet, wherever you are able to get a bind. So the spine stays long by taking the bind wherever that is. Energetically pull the hands towards the hips, which presses the heart open by drawing the shoulder blades together. You're leaning forward with the heart. Feeling a stretch in the back of the legs and even walking the sit bones back a little bit further now. Couple more breaths. And then walking the hands back towards the hips, shaking it out, letting it go. Bringing the soles of the feet together in a diamond-like pose, so it's a wide diamond. Hug the feet together so the soles of the feet are pressing in. Maybe the toes touch, maybe they don't. But the whole soles of the feet touch. Hands can be on the shins or knee area, sitting up tall. Keep pressing the feet together, but find where you can soften the inner and outer hips. So there's this hugging in of activity along with a softening happening. So we have this push and yield effect. So there's this pushing, this effort, and then a sense of ease of opening and softening. And breathing into sensations. And if you'd like, you can start to hinge forward through a long spine. You can use your forearms onto your upper thighs as leverage. So soles of the feet still hug in, but there's some softening and releasing in the inner and outer hips. Inhale, lifting yourself back up, rolling the knees up to the sky, roll all the way over onto one side, coming up into hands and knees table. So you can face the long edge of your mat, and wherever you have space, whatever works best for you, and step the right foot off to the right side of the mat. So the foot and the knee are on the same line. So the right foot and left knee are on the same line. The right toes are facing the long edge of the mat. The foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. And hips stay square to the earth. Inhale, sweeping the right arm up to the sky. Exhale, sweeping the hand underneath like you're doing a big twist hug. Inhale, you're painting the sky with your fingertips, and the exhale, painting it back down and giving yourself a little bit of a hug. The inhale unwinds, painting, and the exhale, wrapping around. And imagining a color of your choice as you paint this color around you with your fingertips. Last time, sweeping the arms up and exhaling back to center. And then step the right foot back in, swish the hips like a giant foxtail. So you're gliding the hips from side to side. Maybe the head moves with it, maybe not. And then coming onto the other side. So stepping the left foot out to the side, planting the foot on the floor, the knee and the foot are on the same line. Right hand below the right shoulder, sweeping the left arm up to the sky this time and painting your color all around you. The inhale unwinds and opens, and the exhale floats and hugs you in. Keep going at your own pace. And last one. Big unwind. And then lowering the hand back down. Exhale the knee back to the mat. Swish the hips from side to side. Lowering back onto the knees and recrawling over towards the top of your mat. You can have a seat on your knees or into a kneeling position if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, you can always come into crisscross. You can bring a blanket underneath your sit bones too, if you'd like, or even a block and a blanket, a block between your legs, blanket on top, sitting up nice and tall. From here, hands come down onto the thighs, tops of the feet press into the floor. Your feet are at like a number 11 rather than coming together. Breathing in deeply. Exhaling completely. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. With your right arm, place it over the left arm so that they can start to wind together. Fingertips face towards the sky as best as is available. And sometimes hands separate, just like this, is perfect, right? So everyone's at a different point in time. You can even use a towel or piece of clothing to grasp onto with each hand. Elbows draw away from the chest. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. You might feel this at the top of your shoulders. In breath, lifting the heart up a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, drawing in. In breath, opens and expands. A little bit of a back bend. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, lifting and opening. Exhale, drawing in and coming back to center. Open and unwind the hands really slowly. Take up space around you. Take a deep breath in and let it go. One more time, big breath in and let it go. Recross in the opposite direction. So left arm would be up this time. Right arm underneath. Fingertips face towards the sky as best as is possible. Elbows away from the chest. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. And when you're ready, inhaling, a little bit of a back bend. Lifting of the heart. Exhaling, rounding in slightly. It's not a huge movement, but just enough to let the pulse of your breath guide the body. Inhale lifts and opens. And the exhale melts and draws in. About 2 more times. Last one. And then unwind. Open the arms up, big open. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Circling the arms down, shaking it out, letting it go. You can lift yourself up from hero's pose if you were on your knees and make your way into hands and knees table pose. And then lowering all the way down onto the floor. So knees behind you and slowly lower all the way down. Resting your forehead on your hands, walking the legs towards one another. Feeling the torso lying on the floor. From here, bring your forehead onto the floor now. Hands come next to your hips, palms down on the floor, shoulder blades draw together. Tops of the feet press down onto the floor. As you exhale, pelvic floor draws in and up, navel to the heart, pressing the palms into the mat, lifting the chest off the floor. The head lifts off the floor. Full deep breaths. Full open cobra. And this might be a shallow cobra, and that's okay. This is pure back strength. Heart opener, back strengthener, and then lower back down with your next breath. Keeping your forehead on the floor this time. Just lift the legs off the floor. So exhale, pelvic floor in, navel to the heart so the core is supported, and lifting the feet off the floor. Maybe the thighs come up off the floor, the knees, that's it. Full breathing here. Press your palms into the floor. Use that as leverage to lift the legs up a little bit higher. Point or floint your toes. And then lowering back down. Take a couple breaths. And then our final time, exhale, pelvic floor in, navel towards the heart, lift the chest, lift the head, and lift the feet and legs off the floor. Full deep breaths, palms can keep pressing down into the floor. Use that as leverage. Lift the thighs off the floor, lift the back of the knees up. You got it. Gaze is slightly forward on the floor in front of you. And then lowering back down. You can use your arms as a pillow for your head if you'd like. Just melt and relax into the earth. You can bend the knees and rock the feet over from side to side. And then lowering the legs back down if you did that. And then walking your hands underneath your armpits. Exhale, press down to come up through table into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes draw together, hips sink to the floor, and the forehead rests. So we're going to stay here for about a minute. So if you'd like, you can always, and you have a bolster at home, you can use a bolster long ways on your mat and turn your head to one side and stay here and resting in more of a restorative child's pose. And if you have your head resting in one direction, maybe turn it in the opposite if it's comfortable for your neck. Very slowly, walking the hands back underneath the armpits. Exhale, press down to come up through table. Walking the knees over to one side, rolling onto that hip, sweeping the legs out in front of you. If you have a block handy, bring it by you. If you don't have a block, it's okay, you don't need a block. It's just an option. From here, feet flat on the floor, knees to the sky. Fingertips tilt towards the front of the room, the front short edge of your mat. If you have any shoulder or rotator cuff stuff going on, rotate your fingers to the long edge of the mat and or separate your hands wider, okay? Press into the hands. Feet are easily on the floor, fairly close to the hips and no wider than your hips. Press your palms into the floor as the shoulder blades draw together. So this is a big heart opener right away. Breathe into the rib cage of the back. So breathing into the baby ribs around the bra line area for the women. Full deep breaths. If you'd like to do one more option, press the feet into the floor, energetically pull the hips towards the heels. Pull the heels towards the hips. Shins and knees pull forward to the front short edge of the mat, and the nose lifts up to the sky. You can breathe here. You can swallow. That's it. And you can always lower the hips back down at any time. See if you can take about 5 deep breaths here. Last big posture before we lay on our back. Keep hugging the heels to the hips, shins and knees forward, press down into the palms, and then lowering the sit bones back to the earth when you're ready. Soles of the feet together and folding forward, allowing the heart to lead and the head to follow. Okay, hon. And then walking your hands back towards your feet, lifting yourself up, bringing the knees up to the sky, feet on the floor, bringing your hands behind you, lowering all the way down onto your back. And once you make your way onto the back, you can draw the knees into the heart, giving yourself a big hug, a gentle rock or roll, massaging the spine. And then plant the feet on the floor. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Press the right hand into the right thigh. But keep drawing the left hip forward too, so that we're not wobbling in the hips. So the hip stays square and flat towards the earth. So the sacrum stays rooted on the back. The right foot is pretty flexed. Don't stress about it. And then if you want more sensation in the outer right hip area, interlace your hands around the left thigh, bringing that closer to your chest, the foot off the floor, and drawing the left thigh in towards the heart. But keep drawing the right knee to the front short edge of your mat. So the spine stays long, the tailbone is uncurled. So sometimes we tend to curl the tailbone up, uncurl it, let it unfurl so the spine is long, and the right knee is drawing forward. We're looking to feel sensation in the outer right hip area into where maybe the sit bones meet the hips and outer glute area. Breathing deeply and fully into sensations. Exhale, lower the left foot down, uncross the right ankle, recross in the opposite direction, pressing the left hand into the left thigh, squaring the hips, and then maybe interlacing your hands around the right thigh, drawing it in, breathing deeply into the left hip area, uncurling the tailbone from the sky, letting your arms just go for a ride. Couple more breaths. And then lowering the right foot down onto the floor, uncrossing the left ankle, stretching the legs out really long on the mat. Circle the arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale with a sigh. And then bending the knees once again, lowering your hands down to your hips. This is where the block is going to come into play. You're going to press down into the feet to lift the hips up and glide the block on the short side to be underneath your sacrum. So it's a big bony part that's pretty solid. And then you're going to press the soles of the feet up to the sky. And if it feels uncomfortable, then just move the block till you find the sweet spot for you. So once you find the sweet spot when you're using the block, draw the shoulder blades together and let the feet press up to the sky, so pressing through the heels. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. Let the sit bones be heavy, the sacrum be heavy, and then go through the ball of the feet and point. And circle your feet in one direction, trying not to move the legs very much. The feet are doing most of the work, all of the work. The muscles in the legs do respond to the feet moving. And you can have a generous bend in the knees too. And then move in the opposite direction. Moving slowly with great care and awareness. And complete the circle that you're on. And just let your feet hang out. Let your legs hang out. If you'd like, you can extend your fingertips up to the sky too, just to get the blood flowing in a different kind of way with the help of gravity. You can always place your feet down at any time. Listen to your instincts. And slowly bending the knees, planting the feet on the floor. Exhale, lift the hips up, remove the block, lowering the sit bones back down. And once again, maybe doing a long stretch, or maybe knees to the heart, your choice. And coming into our restful pose, Shavasana. So if there's anything you'd like to do before Shavasana, feel free to do it. You can always move into a different position for our restful pose. Since this is a shorter class, sometimes using a restorative posture of different than regular Shavasana can be beneficial or helpful. So if you have a blanket at home, using the short edge of the blanket next to the, or blanket, bolster, next to the hips. You can have a blanket nearby, it can be a cushion for your head. Oops. And then lowering back onto the bolster. And I'm going to play a Shavasana song. Take a deep breath in as you settle into your Shavasana, your restful pose. Allow the gaze to soften, softening the space between the brows. Depressing the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And rest.
Look up, so much better, so you know want to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. And we shine like diamonds in the sun. Everyone shine. We shine like diamonds in the sun. And we shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us shines. We shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us. We always be happy and free. May always be happy and free. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. Look up, so much time, so you know what to. And we shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us shines. We shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us. And we shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us shines. We shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us shines.
Gently returning your awareness back to the breath, back to your body, lying on the floor. This peaceful state that you've been able to cultivate. This state is here for you at any time. It just takes our attention and focus to cultivate it. Begin to graze the thumbs over the finger pads, wiggling the toes, moving the wrists and ankles. Maybe taking a long stretch out in any way that feels good for you. Taking a deep breath in, hold it at the top of the breath. Exhale with a sigh. One more time, deep breath in. Holding it at the top. And exhaling out completely. Bringing a bend into the knees. Rolling over to one side if you're on a bolster like me, or if you're coming from side lying, using the strength of your hands and arms to sit up. Coming into cross-legged position, feeling your sit bones once again the way that we started the practice, rooting the energy downwards and feeling it within our bodies, palms in front of the heart. Noticing the breath here. Noticing the thoughts, that they've been able to slow down for you to notice them. We always have thoughts going on, but paying attention to the thoughts is a practice. And we can observe them without judgment or even emotional ties. We can watch our thoughts and observe where they might be coming from. Maybe we want to change something, and maybe we don't. That's the gift of being human, is we can notice things and choose how we wish to proceed. Giving yourself much honor and grace for coming to the mat, for taking this time for you. And search for one more thing that you're grateful for. When you see it in your mind's eye, drop it down into the heart. I thank you so much for your time and commitment to the practice. I look forward to us meeting again. Sat Nam.